Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Freewheeling. Yes, we're working from home. We're trying to get you as much as we can from home, and that's the whole idea. All right, and I can tell you that it's been an interesting sort of a time for us to be able to do this from home. Episode 2 of Freewheeling. And yes, we're working from home. We're trying to get you as much as we can from home. All right, a little bit of a feedback coming in there. But thank you for joining us. Today I have a very special guest who's going to be joining me in just a few minutes. The whole idea was to try and tell you how all of us are dealing with this work from home situation. And so, I guess, have been working really hard to just get you that sense of what we've been doing, how busy it has actually been. And it's not just my perspective or the perspective of the CNB team, as you saw last time on this live presentation. There's also others we want to bring into it. So let me go ahead and try and connect with our guest today. And you can hear it ringing. And we are going to be joined very soon.
Good evening, Siddharth.
Hi there, Balbir. Let me quickly just get you on as well. And just one second. I'm going to connect you onto our audience as well. So the whole idea, of course, is for us to go live, like I said, with Balbir. And as soon as I can get his video in, I will add that here to you as well. So all right, while we get Balbir to join us here.
Are we on, Siddharth?
Yes, now we are on. I can see you, and welcome to the show, and thank you so much for spending time with us today, Balbir. I really appreciate it.
Good evening, Siddharth. Thanks to you as well, introducing me to your viewers. And good evening to everybody, and I'm most happy to join anytime you call me.
All right. Could we request you to sort of get rid of some of that headroom so that we get a cleaner, nicer look at your Audi logo?
Is it fine now?
All right. Yeah, I think that's better. I hope you can see me clearly and hear me clearly, because then we'll get started right away.
Absolutely.
All right. So Balbir, of course, needs no introduction. Head of Audi India, has been now for some time. And, Balbir, I was talking earlier about how this is such a challenging time for all of us, personally, professionally, as industries, as the economy goes, even as a country. And so, the first thing I guess that I'd like to hear from you is your reaction to this. I mean, this crazy, unprecedented time that we're living in.
No doubt about it. It's unprecedented times. None of us, as you mentioned, has seen such times in their life. And I hope this is the first and the last time for all of us to see such kind of times. But said that, you also understand we Indians always believe in positivity. For every situation, we find our way out, and I'm sure we will also find our way out to this as well and come out winners. And we always live with hope, and that is something which is the spirit that we have as an Indian.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we will be successful once we pass through this time, and this shall pass through. That's what I believe.
I'm still getting a few messages asking you to sort of come a little forward, and
Okay.
that's much nicer. Thank you.
Is it finer?
That is
Okay.
good. Okay. We're going to go through a few things here, but the idea, of course, is to keep it completely casual. I know you're at home, and I know it's a Sunday, so thank you for firstly giving us time and letting us into your home like this. The lockdown, as I said, something that none of us have ever lived through, and people are calling it the crisis of this generation, perhaps. There's a good understanding or a good sort of a flow to it now. Everybody knows what's at stake. At least I hope so. There's been a sort of a routine to it as well now. It's been several days, so we've gotten used to this whole work from home idea. At Audi India, what's that been like?
So all of us are working from home at this point in time, almost like you mentioned, 10 days we have been working from home. Of course, it takes a bit of time before you adjust to the new life. But I guess we are all living in digital world, and this is the way to go, and we are enjoying it. With a few glitches in the beginning, but I think it takes about 5 6 days when you get settled. And now we are all connected through Skype, through online, through phones, not just in India, but also with our headquarters. People are working, some of them from offices, some of them are working from home. At the same time, also with channel partners, with our dealers. So all the lines are on. In fact, to be honest, the human touches has increased the past few days than before. So I'm actually happy I'm able to spend time not just with dealers but also with family. But I'm speaking more. To be honest, I was speaking less before.
Well, something new you learned from this time. And speaking of being connected, I want to quickly sort of point out to you that already I've started getting a lot of messages, people saying hello to you and me.
Thank
There's,
you.
there's
Hello.
several messages. So for all those who are watching, I'm going to just ask you to be patient. Thank you for your hellos and good evenings and highs, and definitely right back at you. We are going to definitely come to you for questions as well. There are many of you I know who want to ask questions.
Yeah.
So all of you who are saying that this is good and you're happy to be here, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So we will come to you. So definitely remember that. Keep those questions and comments coming when I ask you for them. Now,
Yeah.
the whole thing about the lockdown is about trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy. I mean, it's not possible really. The environment we are working in is different. The kind of work we are having to do is different. But let's speak from the perspective of Audi India. Balbir, if you can run us through we understand that there's got to be a new routine to it. Like you said, you're perhaps connected with everybody digitally, but for the company as a whole, what is the current routine? What are the things that you are focusing on, since you're obviously not being able to sell cars?
So you have to understand, while we all say we're working from home and we're trying to find a new way of working, which is all fine, but you have to also keep in mind that business at this point in time is not happening. So there's something which is missing, and that business is which keeps the employees keep motivated, keeps dealers motivated. So we generate revenues which are reinvested back. So the whole chain is broken at this point in time, especially when it comes to the business.
Hmm.
But this is life. It is never a straight line. So you come across this kind of situation. What we are doing right now, we are focusing on our medium to long term structure, which is we devised a strategy 2025 for our company in India, and we're very clearly focusing on those strategic pillars. And of course, this is a little bit of a down, I would say, but it's part of life. We are replanning, readjusting ourselves for new launches. We are readjusting our volume planning, keeping in mind what we anticipate. At this point in time, it is difficult to say what will be the whole impact of COVID-19,
Yeah.
but we are contemplating on a regular basis. I think this will be clearer as we move on. A lot of us, we reach these positions, we work, all my teams, all the HODs, all my teams, they work with their experience. Now, this experience nobody has.
Yeah.
So we have to go through this, and we have to learn, and we have to be frugal. We have to come back as soon as possible. That's all we are doing. Keeping ourselves supported, positive, motivated, engaging. This is what we can do, and this is what we are doing.
Tell me this though, Balbir, when it comes to a time like this, one of the things, and I know that this might sound flippant or naive to some people, but go along with what I am getting at. You don't usually have this luxury of time. Where sometimes you wish there were more hours in a day because there's so much to do and there's so much you wish you could add in terms of your repertoire. So is this also that time where you can actually sort of clean up house, get some things in order, maybe have some of those meetings virtually, not physically, obviously, and conversations that you otherwise, tend to keep sort of pushing away or, pushing into the next week or the next month?
So let me take it a little bit on a lighter note. I quote one of my HODs, Gaurav. He's saying that I
I
know
know,
each
Gaurav.
corner of my house now, which probably he didn't know before. So I could also say that I also know each part
I
of my house now.
knowing Gaurav, I hope that he knows every corner of his house with a broom in his hand.
Let's keep some doors closed, but I think something similar he meant. So yes, I'm able to spend a little bit more time with family, because you will understand that the family eventually, with the jobs that we have, they get the least number of hours with us during the days. But this is something which I'm really happy that I'm able to spend more time. Of course, traveling time is consumed now reading a book. That's something which I've been missing for a long time. I've tried coming back to that habit,
Yeah.
and that's what personally I'm doing.
All right. And as far as work goes, I mean, those things that you would otherwise put off, or are you being able to address some of those? Maybe it's something to do with planning, maybe it's something to do with reorganizing systems within the way your business runs, your dealings with, the entire network, speaking with dealers. Do you have now, obviously, time to do all of that as well?
So yes, of course, no doubt about it. Otherwise, I would say it's business as usual, except that there is no car sales happening. There are no cars coming to our workshop. But otherwise, business as usual. What we are doing, when you're in office, you can just walk across somebody and quickly chat and take decisions. Here, when we are connecting through online channels, which is as efficient as otherwise if we are one on one. So, to be honest, personally, I do feel that if we are in office, seeing each other, connecting there, it's far better. But I don't think so. At the short term, for 4 to 6 weeks, it really matters that you're not working from office. So I think it's business as usual, except the direction has to be changed now, which we are working with our headquarters, also taking very clear feedback also from our channel partners, because at the end of the day, they're our business partners. They also give us feedback, and we act on those things because they're our arms, across the country.
All right, fair enough. Again, a lot of people still signing in and saying good evening and hello. So, again, a big hello and shout out to all of you. Don't worry, I will come to you very soon. I'm just, obviously bursting with a lot more questions still for Balbir, and so,
So
so
hi,
bear with me.
hello to all once again.
Yes, everybody is definitely, sort of tuning in and saying this big hello. So that's nice. It's nice to have people join us because I think feeling connected at such a time is also important, isn't it? I mean, there's
Absolutely,
this whole,
absolutely.
yeah, exactly. There's the whole aspect of being, the feeling of being isolated, and those of us who are staying with our families. I mean, I even have colleagues who are stuck literally home alone because the families may be in another city and they didn't have the time to get to them. In some cases, we didn't, think it was going to get this bad, so we didn't, advise them to get to them either. So, I feel terrible about that. But it is that human contact. I think that we're all craving right now. One
Absolutely,
of the other
absolutely.
issues that's not issue, but one of the, let's say, talking points that's come up in the last few days, Balbir, is about what happens when the lockdown lifts, and B, when we return to normalcy, or at least a semblance of normalcy. And I understand that is still very far away because we have still no idea what the current situation is. It's developing on a daily basis. But when this absolute lockdown does lift, and you come at least back to some part of business as usual in terms of car sales, cars coming to the workshop, etc. What's the reassurance you would give your existing customers, potentially new customers, in terms of what part of this has not hurt the process? I mean, people will be worried about everything from EMIs to insurance amounts to so much at this stage. What is the plan, and what is your message to your network already on that front?
So there are multiple aspects to this. One is purely commercial to do with EMIs, with insurance, or with their extended warranty. So as far as EMI goes, you've seen the government of India has taken initiatives where they've instructed banks to give moratorium period to the customers. So if somebody is unable to pay because of some reason, the EMIs would be or could be extended. Similar things also on you've seen from Government of India also initiative, for an example, if a license has expired, so it is extended till the end of June. So these are the initiatives where the government has put in some efforts. On our side, wherever there is, for an example, there were warranties and extended warranties which customers have, and if the warranties are expiring during this lockdown period, we are extending these things. So this is purely on the commercial side. The next thing is, we are human beings, and what we're going through, we are reading so much. There's so much of fear about whether the cars would be disinfected when it is being sent to the workshops. So these are the topics right now we are preparing and we are working on, because this is something which anyway we do partly because of being in luxury segment, we do disinfect our cars already. But now we are also looking at what kind of chemicals to be used, which are good for our cars, for the leather, and what is the training required to our manpower. So these are the things which we are right now working, and we are getting ourselves ready. As and when it opens up, we are going to train our manpower so that customers get those confidence that if they're sending their cars to a workshop, the cars will come properly as they are sent, so
Sanitized,
that
yeah.
they should not fear this.
No, that's important, and you're right. I think that's going to be one aspect. In fact, interestingly, one of our internal discussions the other day, there was a story idea suggested by somebody about how to drive during the COVID-19 crisis. As in, what should you do when you're in your car? Besides not opening your window and talking to anybody.
Yeah,
It's true. I mean, this is almost like a new world we're going to be living in now. So interesting to know that you're
absolutely.
already thinking about that. And when it comes to all these chemicals and everything, the fine balance has to be about A, killing the virus, and B, making sure it's safe for people to use. So
Yeah,
I know it's tough. I can imagine. All right, we got lots of questions. So I've got to
in fact, we've
simply, please go ahead. Finish your
okay,
thought.
okay, let's go.
No, no,
And I was
finish your
saying
thought.
that we've also please, I would say request your viewers to also be connected on our social media channels. So we are keeping engaged with our customers. We are also giving, for example, very small videos how you maintain your car
Yeah.
when you're not moving your car. So all these things we are continuously engaging with our viewers and customers. So I would request your viewers to also connect with us through social channels.
Well, I mean, they've heard you now, so I'm sure they will. And not that Audi needed any help in terms of the kind of following and engagement it has in the Indian context. All right, lots of
Yeah,
questions. Like I said, I'm going to start off by trying to scroll up to one that I saw pop up, which was quite interesting. Since we were talking about what happens when things lift, and I know I want to talk to you about some of the cars, etc., but will the focus still be on electric or EV cars after looking at the drop in the cost of oil recently? This is a question from Eddie for you.
hello, Eddie. So, Eddie, this cost of reduction of oil, these things are, I would say, very time-bound things. So eventually, things will reach back where they were. So the strategy for long term doesn't change. So we've already taken a call that at this point in time, we are only having petrol cars followed by electrification, which is a little bit of time from now. So overall situation doesn't change. We'll continue with our focus of long-term strategy. So this pitfall which comes for a couple of months doesn't change the long-term strategy for the company. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to quickly just play out a little video.
Yeah.
That's not the one I wanted. So, the perils of doing stuff to a live audience on the internet. So let me give this one more shot. But while we're doing that, I will tell
Yeah.
you what I'm trying to play, so that you can already get your thoughts together on that. There was so much about so much that we talked about when the Q8 arrived. So that's the context. And let me now just quickly play out that video.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see the car. I'm hoping.
I
Oh,
can't.
actually, you
So,
can't. But
but
anyway, the
let's
viewers can, thankfully. The
super.
RSQ8 are the shots on the screen right now. My drive
Okay.
in Tenerife, which we have talked about endlessly, I know.
Here I'm a little bit of a jealous from you because you are the one who has, who has driven the car. I have not yet. So I'm really waiting for the car to be driven by me. Really, really waiting desperately, honestly.
No, it's some piece of machinery and engineering that car is. So
I think let me ask you a question here instead of you asking me a question.
sure.
Since you put some this car, the pictures of this car, you please give some feedback to our viewers. What do you think of this car? And how do you compare this car to the competition? And what's your take on it?
Not to be diplomatic, but the good part is that the way it's been engineered, I think it kind of stands apart. It doesn't really have a very direct rival. I know that there are, of course, the other Germans, and there's been so much talk about the fact that it shares a few things even with the Urus.
Yeah.
So I think all of that is what stands it in good stead. We've now switched to the shots of the regular Q8, if you will, our drive from Dubai, and
Yes.
so we're seeing the car on the sand dunes. So that's the other thing that grabs me about the RSQ8 and the Q8. The fact that the car looks really great in terms of its styling. And unlike, all other brands who have gone after taking their regular SUV and offering a coupe alternative or a variant, what's great about the Q8 is that, it doesn't really, it's its own car. It's not just a version of some other car. I think for me, that was a very big plus. And of course, the RSQ8 drives phenomenally. So, yeah, there's absolutely no comparison when it comes to that. It's extremely fast, great on handling. But I should stop talking now because I could ramble on and on about that. The reason I showed it to
Okay.
you is that you had the launch of the Q8 not so long ago. So there was a lot of expectation, and okay, right after that is when things have kind of gone a little bit south. But from the launch.
Okay.
So what's the
So
feedback?
since you have the picture on your screen, I must also talk about Virat a little bit. I was personally involved along with Virat in configuration of his car. So this is one of the things which obviously is on the offer. Q8 is a car which is it's like an extension of one's personality. So this belongs to that segment where a customer kind of designs his own car. So this is what we are promoting through this car when we have launched this car. In terms of what is our expectation, dealers' expectations, I honestly, it has been a really good response to the car. And we have recently requested our headquarters to actually give us more production slot because probably I would say we were a little conservative, keeping in mind the pricing of the car.
Yeah.
But it's quite an overwhelming response, and we are very happy that customers have liked it. They have designed the car, and the cars are on the way. Some of the cars are on the way. Some of the cars have been delivered already.
Yeah.
And I hope I get some more slots that I can offer to the customers in India.
An interesting question about RSQ8 potential pricing. Is it coming to India? When is it coming to India? We have these kind of questions, obviously, undoubtedly coming up from Naman. There is a question about that. There is a question, like I said, about the price from Chetan. So, is that something you want to address at this point?
Well, you know what the answer you will get here. So, pricing as well as the launch timing is something which we don't divulge before they are actually on the ground.
Right.
So you'll have to wait and watch for the pricing as well as the launch timing. So, but we are seriously looking at all these cars, and I want to bring along with my team all the best cars which are available across the world into also India for our customers.
All right, fair enough. And I knew that that was going to be the answer. But the reason is, of course, because there has been so much feedback we've been getting right since we aired that story. So.
Yes.
This is an interesting follow-up question to that. Mohan Wilson says, which car do you like more, Mr. Dhillon? Is it the RSQ8 or the Urus? I think I know the answer to that.
So Mohan Wilson, if it's the same Mohan Wilson who we also worked with in the past, then Mohan, it obviously goes without saying it's going to be an Audi. So Audi is now in my blood, so that's going to remain forever. That's how it is.
That's great. I had to sneak that one in. It was a little naughty, I know, but like I said, I knew the answer. And actually, back on the shelf, I have one. Yeah, the yellow thing up here is the Urus. So maybe I need to have the RSQ8 up here as well.
Goes without saying, it's Lambo is also a group company, so I love all the cars from all my group companies. So if I am getting a chance to drive that car, I will drive Urus as well. It's a lovely car.
Oh, it's fantastic. Now, let's not go there at all. There's another nice question about the Audi India as well as global campaign. I'm just going to try and find that. So it's a question, I'm not being able to find it, but the question was about the social distancing logo. So I've just opened up your Facebook page. I think it's on that page as well. So let me try and get that to you. And in the meanwhile, if you could talk a little bit about that, what kind of response you've got for some of these campaigns. There you go. I have it on the screen now.
So it's really fantastic. It's very simple. You do things which are very simple, but they on the customers or the prospective buyers or our so with the very simple reason we've distanced all the rings apart, showing that we should remain at a distance and all in together. So this is how it depicts. So 50% of that is how you distance yourself, and 50% is that we are all in together as humans, as human society will come through this strongly. So I think at this point in time, it's been our philosophy that we must engage with our prospective customers or buyers or people at large to educate whatever we can through our social media channels, and that's what the intention is.
All right, now let me see if I can manage to get a slightly more direct answer from you on this one, though I think I know again what you're going to say. Deepak Khanna is asking, why has Audi been sluggish to launch the Q2 in India when it has got launched in other Asian countries?
So I think I was answering somebody the same question a couple of days back. So see, the entry models, luxury segment cars are one of the most challenging segment in India because of the high duty structure high registration costs. So it is very, very difficult to maintain those cars at the price points where what customers are expecting.
Yeah.
And if we don't make money, if we don't be profitable, we are not able to reinvest back into our network, into our R&D. So it is very difficult to bring these cars at a good price point. That's one of the challenges we had.
Right.
But of course, we had so far A3 and Q3 in India, and we are working on all the models. I will keep some of the secrets with me at this point in time. So just wait and watch. That's all I can say at this point in time.
You have led me straight to the Q3 because that's the other question that keeps coming up. The new Q3. The world has had it for some time. We still don't have it. So I understand that there will be some delays now because of this crazy situation. That notwithstanding, is it part of your plan for this year or the foreseeable future?
So, as I mentioned, everything is on the table for discussion, and we are working on all the products. At the right time, at the right price, we will launch them.
All right. There's an interesting question from Naveen. Says in Audi's 2025 plan, Audi India's 2025 plan, is there any plan for opening up a technical R&D center in India, considering the abundance of talent here in India?
So I think since we are touching this topic of strategy 2025, I must tell you also what is strategy 2025. So strategy 2025 for us basically is 4 pillars of strength. The very first pillar of strength is customer centricity. So anything and everything that we do in India, everything is focused on our customers, whether it is new products or it is the services that we offer or engagement with the customers. So everything is focused onto our customers. That's the very first one. The second one is the products. So second pillar of strength for us is the products. So we want to bring in the latest technology, the latest products that are available across the world also into the country. So that's the second pillar. The third one is network. Network which is sustainable and available for long for all our customers, servicing them through the country. That's our third pillar of strength. And the fourth is digitalization. Now, digitalization is pre-selling the car, post-selling the cars, and also engaging with our customers through digital channels. So all put together, these are the 4 pillars of strength. Now, when it comes to R&D and such subjects, these are addressed multiple layered way. One is, this we do through our group channel. So we part of Volkswagen Group. So we also have already an R&D center in India. So, there are multiple layers that happen. At this point in time, it is difficult for me to say whether by 2025 we will have R&D specifically for Audi, but there is never a no for anything which makes sense, which brings us closer to our customers. So every good idea is always welcome. But at this point in time, it's difficult for me to say whether there will be something like this by 2025.
And the good thing is that, as you mentioned, at the group level, there's a lot of activity. There's a lot that's
absolutely
happening. So I'm sure you'll only benefit from that in any case.
Absolutely.
This is a broad question, but one that I possibly should have asked you right at the start, which is coming from Nishant. A lot of talk about all the economic slowdown, and that's bound to happen now. How's this going to impact the car industry in India?
So let me not be the expert of the overall car market, but because my focus is primarily on the luxury side, so I will restrict my comments on the luxury industry. In the beginning of the year or the end of last year, also a couple of channels I made this comment that I expect this year to be kind of a flat growth year where we're not growing vis-a-vis 2019 in luxury segment. However, nobody knew the situation of COVID-19. With this, I am very clearly seeing that we will have the second year of degrowth in India. What percentage will it be? It's difficult to assess at this point in time. I think in the next couple of months, we will come back to you giving our feedback on what will happen this year. But I would presume it will be a degrowth because we've already seen this in Q1 2020.
All right, and that's obviously bound to happen, and not just for you, but for all the players. And we're certainly hoping that there is some kind of an incentive or a measure from the government side as well, not just for the auto industry, but the hope is that there will be some focus on doing some sort of stimulus for every industry that's going to be affected. Auto, no doubt, will be affected badly. There's a question from someone called Demo Crazy, so that's their login or handle. The Audi e-tron launch plan, considering the current scenario, since you have announced that for India.
So you know that we already showcased this car in India. We got it here. We showcased it to people like you who also give us feedback, but we also showcase the car to a lot of our customers, existing customers, and prospective buyers, and we all received fantastic feedback about it. Now, I am personally believing that this car will be a great success in India. It's only a question of time when we bring this car in. So right now we are doing our internal studies in terms of when does it make sense to bring these cars into the country. Because one thing which is very important for us to know is the infrastructure available in the country for charging. This obviously we as the manufacturers will not be able to do on our own. So we are seeing how it is developing over through the country. But some point in time we will bring the car in to the country.
All right. I mean, and that's encouraging enough because I think there has been such a talk about EVs in general. I have to ask you this follow-up, Balbir, that with everything that's happened now and the new attitude, let's say, that the consumer might have, I know that there was a lot of talk about how EVs will just be a really slow and not a very fast adoption rate. Do you think people will want more sustainable products given what has happened? Do you think there's going to be a greater move towards those kind of products which could potentially accelerate EVs in India? I mean,
I will only refer to India. You see, all of us during last 10 days sitting at home have seen clearer skies. So no doubt about it that all of us do have thoughts that can this world continue the way we were working before? Plus, additionally, we have the environment which is better like now. Of course, it cannot be reality because the moment you open up again, you're back with the same kind of traffic on the road. But I am sure people are becoming more and more aware of environment, and it's a positive sign. I mean, the whole world is moving in that direction. Why shouldn't we? And I'm quite positive about it.
All right. Plenty more questions coming. There's one from Ashutosh, which is a follow-up to the one that we just spoke about, which is the broader what happens with the industry. Your outlook then for the immediate few months and then also for financial year 21 when it comes to Audi, when it comes to the luxury space.
So let me be very clear on this. The first priority for all of us at this point in time is human capital, nothing else. So what we at this point in time, there is nothing more important than people are safe at their places, our customers are safe, our dealer partners are safe, their employees, my employees, everybody is safe. So the business takes second seat. So first priority is safety. When we open up, I'm personally anticipating that opening up will happen in a staggered manner. So you'll have maybe, let's say, 25% of employees coming to the workshop. Slowly, people becoming, the employees becoming 50% and maybe over a period of time 100%. But you will also need to understand in the luxury segment, it's not a need-based buying. So it is something which is, it's an emotional buying. So first, most of our customers are businessmen. I'm sure firstly when they open up, they will look at how to bring their own business back on track. And over a period of time, they will start thinking on cars. So we have to take kind of a step back. Most importantly, take care of our existing customers, their cars. If they have any trouble with their cars, take care of their cars. And then slowly come back, bring our business back onto the track, which is selling cars. At the end of the day, we have the cars, we have the models available, we have to sell those cars. But at this point in time, I think it's time to take a step back and look at people's safety first.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't endorse that more. There's a question from my colleague Ameya actually, so he's also slipping in here. Audi's second hand. All right, so I'm going to flick you back on so that you can actually say hello to him. There you go. You're on now.
Hello, Ameya. How are you?
All right. Audi's second-hand car arm, Audi Assured, is that betting big on the second-hand luxury car market, given the scenario?
So, for every, I would say, if there are challenges, there are also opportunities. So this is one of the areas which is an opportunity area. In fact, I'm very happy to share that last year we actually grew Audi Approved Plus business by 11%. And I'm hoping this business also grows. In fact, I was planning that this business grows quite a bit this year, but with this, lockdown, this will also impact the pre-owned cars business. But this is very clearly our focus. This is a business where we try to bring customers to our brand earlier than otherwise they would have come to buy a new car. So let's say somebody is buying a car worth 50 lakh rupees, and this is where you are able to get people at, let's say, 30 lakh rupees. So we give Audi experience to customers at an early stage of their lives. And then once they are already with us as in an Audi, we are able to bring them back into new cars that we sell. So it is very, very important. At the end of last year, we had 7 outlets where Audi Approved Plus facilities were available. And my intention is this year to at least make it 12 to 15, so that more and more locations customers are able to get exposed to Audi Approved Plus business through the country.
All right. There's also been a lot of excitement globally before all these problems started about some of the new platforms and the new models. Of course, we've even had the new sedans just driving in, the A8. Just before that, we had the A6. You also celebrated the Quattro anniversary recently.
Yeah.
Just talk us through some of those high points over the past few months that you've actually been able to experience. Let's not only dwell on the negative.
Absolutely. So I'm lucky actually. It's been just about 6 months that I've taken over at the new role, and I've been in the witness and I've been able to launch 3 new cars. The first one was the new A6 that we launched into the country. It comes with TFSI technology and been fantastic response on that car, followed by Q8 that we launched in the month of January, and then in the month of February we launched the new A8. So all these cars, as I mentioned also before, are all driven by petrol technology. So all of these cars are plug-in hybrid cars, and we saw this change also happening for past couple of years, starting 2017, where 90% cars were diesel cars and then 10% petrol. But if I see this trend changing already this year, we see this to be 40% petrol and 60% diesel for us in the first couple of months of this year. So we'll push this trend also from our side furthermore, where our complete focus is going to be TFSI strategy. And all these cars are fantastic, amazing cars, and they bring in the latest technology in terms of exterior, engines, also the interiors of the cars in terms of fit and finish, but also at the same time digitalization. All these cars that we have in India are also connected cars. So you're connected with your car through your mobile app. So everything that we're doing right now, again, as I mentioned, one of the strategies, customer centricity and digitalization. So it's a combination of everything. All the cars that we bring in now, it's amalgamation of technology and the luxury that we offer for our customers.
All right. While you were speaking, we had visuals of those cars as well on the screen. So we have the A6 and now we have the A8. There's a nice question that's come in from Batul saying, how is Audi India connecting with customers directly in this tough time?
So like I mentioned before, at this point in time, we are connecting with our customers through social media channels. So this is the one way of connecting. Our customer care lines are also on at this point in time. Roadside assistance is also on, but of course our workshops are not working. So if there is any problem somewhere, if we face any problem, if customer faces any problem, we are able to pick up their cars and drop to their home locations. So this is another way of connecting with the customers. We are also connecting with our customers, telling them their warranties and their extended warranties are being extended if they were expiring during these periods. We are also doing a lot of other things which we are doing through our channel partners. This is the time also when we are able to do our let's say database correction. We have almost 80,000 customers in India, and sometimes the database of all those 80,000 is not accurate, their email IDs or their phone numbers. So this is also the time which we are utilizing to update ourselves, so that once we are back in full swing, we are more efficient than what we were before.
All right. Bear with me, Balbir, because we've got a lot more questions. So if I could, request a little bit more of your time.
Perfectly fine. I'm fine. It's a Sunday evening, so another half an hour is no problem.
That's great, because the questions, like I said, are just coming in thick and fast. Deepak asked about how's Audi planning to come out from the current situation. I think we've already talked about that. Chetan has an interesting follow-up question. What's your take on leasing? With nice interest rates and finance options, do you see customers owning a new car or leasing a luxury car?
So now, last 12 years in luxury cars, I can only say Indians, we are very emotional people and we want to own the assets.
Yeah.
So leasing has not been a very prominent business vertical so far. Unlike Europe, where leasing is one of the biggest channels of sales. So I still would believe that for the years to come, leasing will grow for sure, but owning an asset still will remain the focus area for our customers. So they'll still own the cars.
Okay, the next question very quickly then is from Rushikesh. Any virtual digital experience tools that Audi will come up with?
Well, I must say that it's already there. So what we have is AR and VR experience for all the new products that we have. The Audi Q8, Audi A8, Audi A6. So if some customer is not able to visit us, our teams, the sales consultants, do go with the virtual reality experience and AR experience at customer's doorstep, where he can see a car in three dimensions, design the car, and then come back and order a car for us. So these things are already existing, and they're very much available at all our network partners through the country.
Okay, in terms of safety, what are the new features planned? Eddie has another follow-up question for you as well. Are there any new features?
So when it comes to safety, of course, this is one of the priority areas for all us as well for our customers. So whether it is in terms of active safety or passive safety, all those technologies which are available through the world are also available for all our customers. So whenever we configure, whenever we design cars for India, of course we pick and choose all multiple options from what is available through the world. So this remains one of our priority areas while designing the car, that safety is given the topmost priority for our customers. So whether it is in terms of safety airbags or multiple, as I mentioned, active and passive safety products, they are all available in the cars. And all these cars, they go through very, very stringent testings before they're launched through the world. So, they are really, really tested very hard before they are handed over to our customers.
Okay, now I have this question which I absolutely love. So feel free not to answer it if you don't want to. Karan is asking, can you tell us whether you also discovered any hidden talent of yours during this lockdown?
Well, more than I think not. I wouldn't say hidden talent, but there is something which I always missed and I couldn't do for last couple of years.
Yeah.
Is speaking a little more. So I'm now trying to speak more to my friends, family, and my dealer partners. So in your daily business, you don't get sufficient time. So this is the time when I'm trying to utilize, where I'm trying to connect with certain dots which have been missing in my life for the last couple of years. So that's something which I'm trying to do.
No, that's great, and I have to say that it's wonderful to be able to talk with you. I think this is the longest conversation we've had since December, I suppose. So we met, of course, after that, but January, February we met as well. But this is great. So thank you again, and this is a great way for me to segue into one little, call it a rapid fire section that I have planned for you. So as quickly as you can. First thought that comes to your mind, please answer. Favorite sedan currently available in India?
For me, A6.
All right. Favorite SUV available in India?
Q7.
Favorite hatchback?
Hatchback for me, difficult to say.
You can stay within the family. I know there isn't an Audi one.
I personally like Polo, to be honest.
All right, there you go.
Really, yeah, I really like it.
All right. Favorite sports car?
Of course, an R8.
Have a tiny one up there as well. Back there. Yeah, there it is. That's the one.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite bike, if you have one?
I'll personally buy a Harley.
Okay. Most recent travel that you had before the lockdown set in?
So the most recent travel was really, maybe I can talk a little more, not just very rapid fire. I actually wanted to drive in Europe for long. So I went to Europe with my family and I spent about 10 days and drove almost 2,000 kilometers in 3 countries, France, Switzerland, and Italy. That's something which I would want to talk about. And it was really fun. Because for me also, I wanted to get used to the driving on those roads, because most of the time we drive in convoys and have cars in front and back. But this was something very, very independent experience, and I would suggest all the viewers, wherever you get an opportunity within India or outside India, I love driving is my passion, so I would suggest you also take out time and drive.
I mean, you're
First,
definitely going to get an endorsement on that from me. You know that.
yes,
And just
yes,
as well that you did this
absolutely.
before, some of those places you talked about today are absolutely, out of bounds. So just as well.
Yes,
What were you
yes,
driving? What car
absolutely.
were you driving when you did this drive?
So, I was driving a Toyota, to be honest.
Okay, good to know. Best food that you've had at home since the lockdown?
Today I had dosa.
Ah,
So my wife and my daughter cooked for me, so I love the dosa at home.
that's very lucky. And you remember we had the dosa conversation in Dubai, so
Yes,
it's
yes,
something that I'm actually
absolutely.
craving. Which brings me to the next one: the thing that you're craving to eat once normalcy returns.
I'm not foodie to be honest. So for me, I eat to live, not live to eat. So I'm not really dying to
We don't have that in
eat.
common. You know that too, I think, about me.
Yes.
All right. So the place that you're dying to go to once things return.
Of course, to my hometown Chandigarh to also visit my family there. That's the place I want to go. But at the same time, I also want to drive to Goa now. It's been quite some time, and if I get a chance, I want to drive to Goa, spend a couple of days there with family and friends.
That also sounds like a plan, I can tell you. So related to that, then someone who you're looking forward to meeting once the lockdown lifts.
My team, all my team members. Honestly, this is also a time when what we've done is we're trying to engage with all our teams. So I'm taking a little more time to. So we've created like a WhatsApp group on a daily basis. We have some challenges, we have trainings, and we have internal quizzes where the people are winning some awards. So this is how we are trying to engage with people. So all my team is something which I'm really trying to meet when we start back.
I can totally relate to that because all of us feel like even though we talk every day, yeah, it'll be great to
Yeah.
get everybody back together in one room. The last book you read or a movie that you watched?
So the book that I'm just reading, I would say, Good to Great by Jim Collins. That's something which I'm reading, almost on the verge of finishing this book. Really good book. So I'm learning my bit how to be very frugal and how can the life be very very simple and how do you make a company from good to great. That's something. Movies every day I watch one. So uh, most of the time watch action movies on Netflix or something.
All
There are
right.
many of them.
All right. Now, really quick ones. Favorite color?
For me, red.
See, I wore red today because it's Audi, right? So I wore red. I had my Audi mug as well. I don't know if you haven't seen me yet, but you have to go back and.
Yeah, I saw.
All right. Your alma mater.
What do I say? Let's pass.
Okay.
Let's pass.
And your hometown, of course, I think you already mentioned. You said Chandigarh.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. So you've been very sporting about that. Thank you. I'm going to literally take two more questions from the audience here, and then we'll sign off because while we were doing this, what I thought was fun anyway. I hope you did too. There'll be a lot more questions
Absolutely.
coming in. So let me quickly get back to those. Will there be an increase of buyers in Audi and luxury segment once the lockdown lifts and things return to normal? It's a question from Naman.
So I think you've already answered this question. So I am sure with the new products now, if you remember, I think I also mentioned in one of the interviews that we have also taken a decision that all the products that we're going to bring into India after we have moved from BS4 to BS6 will either be a completely new products like a Q8, or it will be a new, completely the next generation like the new A6, or it will be at least a model improvement. So maybe it's taking a little bit of time here and there, but we will bring all the new models into the country. So I am sure we will grow our sale in the country, keeping in mind whatever lockdown we are going through, and it is going to be a staggered opening, and then the businesses will definitely go through a bit of a challenging time. But I do expect more and more buyers, customers to buy Audi products
All
as we
right.
move.
Another question that is related to what we spoke about earlier, but since it's come now, I will ask you before we sign off. Praveen Raj is asking, how is the market on used premium cars and has there been a good growth? Especially, how do you see Audi growing in pre-owned?
So, like I just mentioned a while back, we have grown in 2019 by 11% over 2018, and this year growth will be more than that. So, this is one of the very, very important segment for us, and we are doing a lot of work in this. One is, making it very simple for our existing customers to sell their existing car, and also for the new customer to buy these cars. So it's a combination of, here we are addressing two customers. Somebody is selling the car, so we have an opportunity to sell a new car. And somebody is getting into a pre-owned car who will become our customer for new cars in the times to come. So this is something which is very close to my heart personally, and I'm working very, very close with my team to make it a big success. And we will grow this year as well in pre-owned cars business.
All right, I think this is a very apt last question to ask you. It comes from Batul again. What is the secret behind this fit, fine, and positive personality?
Well, attitude. You have to be always attitude, and whatever we do, at the end of the day, we are all working with people and for people. So I think engagement with like-minded, positive friends, families, and colleagues, and of course, all of us will go through this challenge, and we will come out stronger. And I'm sure there will be a better day. Tomorrow is a better day than today. That's what it is. So we have to be positive, keep smiling, and keep all your surrounding also positive. So that's how it is.
Can't ask for anything more than that. That's absolutely right. And you couldn't be, I think, giving any better advice than that in the current situation that we're in. Thank you and I've been, by the way, all through this, I've been completely distracted by that India jersey that's behind you. I'm assuming that belongs to Virat, or it used to belong to Virat, and now it belongs to you.
So honestly, this is gifted to me by Virat only. His personal signature are there on this jersey. So this is something part of the job is to also get some goodies. So this is one of those goodies.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But doesn't stop us from maybe being a little bit envious. That's really great.
No, he's written my two daughters' name, Suhavi and Meher, and then he signed this jersey for them. So I just hold this and I thank him for this. He's so kind.
No, it's lovely. Maybe at some point you can post a picture of it up close so that we can see it. But but from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I know that this is a tough time for everybody. Hearing from you today, and also the message of positivity, especially that you had, not just us, but I think for the industry, for your colleagues, for your teams, for everybody who's been watching this, that's the best message you can give anybody at this point. So
absolutely. Siddharth, thank you so much for your time as also engaging with me. So the last message from my side is, at the end of the day, it is very important that the human is taken care of. Everything else comes later. So we are all, keeping ourselves safe. Our customers should be safe. Followed by, we also need to be very, very careful during these times to be very, very frugal in our business. So we are working also very closely with our channel partners. We are standing with them shoulder to shoulder during these tough times, and business will follow. So when we are together, when we are working together, business will follow. So we have to take care of our existing customers. That's also one of our priorities. So once again, thanks to you, thanks to all the viewers for joining us today, and let's be engaged with us with us through social media channels. And thank you so much once again for that.
Loved
and have a lovely evening.
Speaking with you, and I can tell you lots of people are saying thank you to the fact that you answered their questions. A lot of people are saying positive things about what you've been speaking about. So thank you also to all of you who've been tuning in. And Balbir, once again, great to see you. Take care of yourself. Stay safe.
Pleasure.
And I'm hoping that we see each other soon in the physical world as well.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe. All of you. Bye-bye.
All right, so that was, of course, Mr. Balbir Singh Dhillon, who is the head of Audi in India. And you heard from him if you tuned in at a later point, or if you are going to, maybe go back and watch this from the start. The whole idea was to just bring some of these people closer to you, tell you what they're thinking, what's happening at their businesses, how are they sort of preparing for what's going to come, no doubt, in the next few days. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be tough. But you know what they say, when it gets tough, that's when the tough get going. So yes, the going gets tough, the tough get going. Please do stay safe, all of you who are watching. Thank you so much again for joining me today. And for those of you who watch this later on YouTube as well, thank you. And stay with Carandbike for all the latest from automobiles. If you do step out for any essentials, please, safety first. Take your sanitizer with you, wash your hands when you come back. Wear your masks, and of course, please wear your seatbelts. Very important as well. Seatbelts and helmets do save more lives than any of us can think. And so thank you again, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.